I'ma soon forget. So far between the lines, I'ma write a new set, a new beginning. Reflecting on the times that were that hard. I've fallen down many times, but I got mad hard.
Hey YouTube, we're back with another video. Mexican Lee's Therapy Garage, back for another therapy session here in the shop. And what we got going on is, I didn't take any footage. I did some footage of moving the frame underneath the belly of the car. I didn't really go into detail as far as making a video because it took a long time going. It would have took too much time going back and forth to the phone, to the camera, turning it on and off, going and explaining. So I let it run on time lapse. My son came out here to help me get her done, and it worked out. It worked out great with what we had going on. So this camera turned around, show you what we got. I'll put that footage, that time lapse footage, in this video. Probably at the beginning of the video, just to show y'all real quick what we did. But I ended up getting the firewall, that section of it, polished and buffed, got it all cleaned off, got all the seam sealer done on the front half of the car there. So we went ahead and put the body on 4x4s. I was able to get this rack from underneath the car. We got the jack stands set underneath the body with the 4x4s. You'll see that in that footage, that time-lapse footage. Ooh, look at that boy. We got him a meal. But anyways, we got her pretty much ready to drop from the jack stands onto the frame. So what I'm gonna do at this point, I went ahead and dug through one of the boxes. I got out all the old body pads, and what I did was, when I took them out of the car, I left the bolts in them along with the washers, whatever hardware was in them. That way I knew exactly what washers or bolts went where, because I know there's like 2 or 3 different size bolts in the factory kit. And that's how they came in the new kit as well. So I marked them all with the R1, R2, and so on. For the right side, the left side is L1, L2, L3, and so on. So I went ahead and took them all out, put them in their correct position as far as where they were on the frame. And this side I didn't really start untaping yet, but I did on this side. Pretty much got them all untaped. My shadow's getting in the way, but you can see there are different size bolts that go along the car. I believe it's 3 different sizes. So with the way I did this, I'll know exactly L1, L2, L3, and so on. I'll know exactly which way to pull out and set my new body pads along with the hardware. And that's what I'm gonna do now. So we're gonna go ahead and get that situated. That way we can get these body pads in their correct position along the frame. Then we'll go ahead and start getting my jack and all my 2x6s. We'll go ahead and start lifting up the car little by little and start ratcheting these down, maybe even get the car, the body off of the 4x4s. So that way we could start getting this thing centered up on the frame and lowered down so it can sit on the actual body pads. So that's where we're at in this video. Parts, they're still sitting here, but everything else is pretty much set and ready to go. That way I can get this thing dropped. It's been hard, but man, a long time coming. Can't wait to get these two married to each other. What I wanted to do too, what I should have done, was before I done this, scuff down this exhaust, painted it. But I mean, hey man, it ain't no show car. I should have done that anyways, just because it would have looked really, really nice. But we ain't going that far. Maybe later after I get the body back on the frame, but as for now, I'm not worried about that. So let's go ahead and get this camera cut off and get to work. I'm gonna try to I might even get a little bit of footage doing this, but it'll take too long because I'm kind of back and forth and trying to figure out how to do it the safest way possible to where I don't hurt myself or to where I don't even hurt the body. I don't want to tear anything up underneath. So if I had a lift, which it'd make it so much easier. I don't, but it doesn't mean you have to have one. You can do this without a lift. Just got to go slow, man. Take your time. So I will be taking my time, but I'm gonna try to catch a little bit of footage of lowering this thing down on top of this frame. Then once I get it down where I need it, I'll center it up, make sure it's centered and got the same amount of space in between the rockers and the back half of the car and the frame all the way around. That way I know it's centered up on that frame perfectly before I go ahead and start putting the hardware in and tightening this thing down. But let's go ahead and get to work. All right, y'all, we'll catch you back on here for real quick. So what I got all the new hardware situated, bolts that match up. I ended up looking back at the body pads here, and I noticed that the ones in the very middle of the frame right there, which is number 3, matched up with this very last one back here, number 7. And I didn't look at them close enough when I took them apart or even when I took them out of the car, but as you can see, they're both different. This one has a smaller washer, but it has a bigger hole in the middle. I don't know if you can see that. Versus this one here, the washer itself covers the whole body pad and the hole is smaller. So that's what I'm talking about. So you can see the difference between the two. So good thing I did mark these. Good thing I did go back and look at them, because I was able to figure that out, that I had them in the wrong positions. So now we're all good. We got them all situated. We got all the tops that go to them, all the bolts in the correct positions with the washers. So now we're going to go ahead and start putting them in their places where they belong in the frame. So this one, the way these go in the frame, you see that hole there right here. This recess part on this body pad goes inside that hole and it'll sit flush. See? So now once I lower the car down, the body will come down here, it'll set right on this, then this is where the bolt goes and fastens to the body itself. It'll come through the frame right here. It'll go through, I'll have the other, so okay, let me just show y'all. So the washer will go on that like that. It'll go over that cup. As you can see, it's got that pocket on the inside. That's where that little recess part on that body pad goes. That's how it centers up. It centers up in that body pad like that. So this will go through the frame, through that hole there. It'll go up and through like that. And then, let's see if I can do this one-handed. But yeah, I can't get the camera set up. Okay, see how that recessed part is there like that? So what it'll do, let me hold this one hand real quick. Yeah, I'm gonna end up painting the inside of the frame once I get the stuff from East Coast, East. No, what is it? East, not East Bay. I don't know. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But they make a can that has a hose that'll go through the frame. That's what I'm gonna spray in here, and it's a encapsulator, Eastwood. Okay, so once this is inside that frame there, how it's got this extra piece sticking out here, this will line up with that body pad and it'll sit flush. And then once I tighten that up against the car, it'll center the frame right up on top of that. So what I'm gonna still have to do though is, once I get this lined up, once I get these put into position and tight and ready to tighten down, I'm not gonna tighten them down until I get all, 14 of them all together, lined up with the bolts in them, ready to be tightened and fastened. I'm gonna make sure, like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and go through and measure from the frame to the body all the way through, front to back, and make sure it's even and level on all sides. Then we'll go ahead and torque these down. I know the factory bolts from GM had some Loctite on the threads. I'm not gonna put Loctite on these, I don't think, but I probably will put some what is it? Let's see, we got it right here. I'll probably put some of this anti-seize on the threads just so it doesn't ever rust. That way, if I ever get to wanting to tear this thing apart again, I'm down here in Texas, so I'm sure it won't ever happen. These came out, I'm pretty sure they're the original ones from the factory. These came out really easy. I didn't have to cut no holes in the body. I didn't have to do any of that. I didn't have to heat them up or nothing. They came out real easy. So we're gonna go ahead and start getting these in there, put in their places where they belong on all 14. Then these ones here don't have a bolt in them, but they got that little nipple, so they should line up right and go right in that hole there. But they just set, the body just sits right on top of those two. This one here and that one there. So let me get started on that. I'll cut you back on here in a little bit. Alright, YouTube, we're back. Man, my chest is starting to get real heavy, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and stop for tonight. I wanted to go ahead and situate the body. The body is on the frame now. It's resting on all four corners. Went down really smooth. Took a while to figure it out, but we went ahead and got her down all the way. So she is sitting on all of the body pads all the way around. I still need to get under there, lift up the body, and more or less kind of tweak it left to right, front to back. That way it's centered up on that frame 100%. Before I do any kind of torquing of the bolts, I need to look that up as well. That way I know exactly what to torque them bolts at, because I don't want to over torque them, I don't want to under torque them. So everything that I'm doing on this car, it's pretty much by the book. So let me show you what we got. She is off the 4x4s and off all of the jacks. So the body is sitting directly on the frame, on all the body pads. We got these two up front on each side. Then of course all the ones in the middle. These are all the old ones with all the bolts. That's the caps that go on them, as far as the new bolts and the washers. So I feel good. I mean, that this much work is done, that the body's finally back on the frame. That's what I feel good about. As far as me personally, I still feel a little rough. So I'm not gonna push it. I'm not gonna push myself. I got this much done, so there she is, sitting on all the body pads. Got a little bit of primer up underneath here. I honestly don't care. So just wanted to show y'all that. We'll go ahead and I'll get some more information and figure out. I got a manual here somewhere. I got to pull it out, find it. I don't know if it'll tell me how tight these bolts need to be, but we'll get that done in the next couple days. We'll get it lined up, tightened down. But for the most part, we're gonna go ahead and finish off this video with this footage here. The body back on the frame, finally, after all this time. So now, once we get everything bolted down in its respective places, everything's tight, we're gonna go ahead and get that sheet metal from upstairs. We're gonna get it measured out on this roof. We're gonna go to town and start cutting this roof up. That piece there, that's for the sunroof. So we're gonna go ahead and get it up here, get it measured, get it centered. We're gonna go ahead and start getting ready to cut that hole so I can get that body work going. Metal work, well, you know, get the metal work going first. But for the most part, she's there, man. So again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in with your boy Mexican Lee. Like, comment, subscribe, man. Hit that like button for me, y'all. It don't take that much for y'all to hit that, you know, like button for me. It gets the algorithm going, and not only just for myself, but for people with these A bodies or anybody just in general, just learning how to do certain shit like this that don't have all the big tools. You know, it kind of helps get that algorithm going for them. That way they don't have to search so hard for this type of content. So hit that like button for me, y'all. But Mexican Lee's Therapy Garage session is finished for tonight. Thanks for tuning in.
It's time I picked up all the pieces. It's so frustrating. Let me out of this cage. I'm not listening no more. 'Cause you're the one that's wrong, and you're gonna regret this life. All your words I'ma soon forget. So far between the lines, I'ma write a new set, a new beginning. Reflecting on the times that were that hard. I've fallen down many times, but I